Alrighty, welcome back everyone to TechWorldTV. This is the first episode we're doing of a new live stream, and I'm joined here by the one, the only, Tech Deals. How you doing?
Hey everybody, how you guys doing today?
So they're going to come up and chat, and hopefully the chat will become alive. I'm hoping anyway. So we'll quickly roll the intro as well. I've set up everything. This has been a big work in progress to get the stream desk set up, to get the audio right. We've even got Jar Jar here for the Inception and the introduction ceremony. So we'll quickly roll this intro. Let's do it. And you can talk over it if you want to.
It helps if I have something clever to say. I'll have to think of something funny while I drink my coffee.
Alrighty, so basically behind the scenes, Mr. Deals and I, we have been sort of talking a lot. We talk a lot on Twitter especially, and we did a live stream for the patron viewers, and we're going to continue doing that. But yeah, there was just a really good chemistry. I liked the way the I guess even just our casual chat was flowing, and we decided to give this a shot where we're going to talk tech news with you guys. So if there's anything you want to say, we'll get straight into it.
Well, hi everybody. How you guys doing? Hopefully we have a bunch of people from both. I just tweeted out a thing, and hopefully we get a bunch of people in. I can see chat's already flowing. Speak up, say hello. And we are going to talk about news and some rumors and just some various tech stuff, but we might, we'll see how it goes. We'll answer some questions in chat if we see something interesting pop up. But basically grab some coffee or a drink and sit back, relax, and have some fun with us.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll pull up the first topic here. This is the Ryzen 2. We're going to talk about Ryzen 2. Very hot at the moment. And we've got here, of course, WCCF Tech, always leading the front. And now, when I was in Thailand, I spoke to the guys at AMD. They were very annoyed with WCCF Tech. They're basically in the process of trying to squash whoever's giving WCCF Tech the rumors. So yeah, they basically always on top of these rumors, whether they're true or false, and it sort of does annoy them a lot. I guess it annoys any company that's trying to keep something under wraps. But yeah, we've got here the Ryzen 5 2600. We've already announced this on our channel as well, the details and the specs. Which CPU are you looking forward to the most?
The 2700X, because not only does it have more cores than Intel, but the clock speed is finally competitive, and it comes with what appears to be a top-notch stock cooler.
That is exactly my sentiments too. I was predicting, like, as soon as I saw it, I mean, it comes with the Wraith Spire. The Wraith Prism, my bad. It's a gorgeous cooler, and you're paying $329, and you're getting that cooler included. So for me, it was like a no-brainer. You're getting their flagship, plus you're getting a cooler that you can use that cooler as well, like legitimately use it and do a little bit of overclocking and get some good speeds. So it's a great pack. Like this time around, I think they've nailed it. Of course, we're gonna have to wait for the results and all the other stuff. But yeah, that's my pick going in this time. As opposed to the previous generation, I was like, even before it was released, I heard rumors of that Ryzen 5 1600 that was coupled with the Wraith Spire, and that was a really good matchup.
It was, and I think a lot of people are going to miss the switch over, because the new Ryzen 5 2600, I love the price. I mean, I love that they've come down on the price. $199 launch price, which of course means discounts possible in the future, but $199 for the Ryzen 5 2600. But it's not the Spire anymore, it's the Stealth. And at stock speeds, the Stealth is fine, but it isn't going to have the overclocking headroom the Spire would.
That's actually a big concern. I asked them at the event. I said, okay, coming into this, the 2600 only comes with a stealth cooler. If you guys don't know, that's a 65 watt TDP cooler, as opposed to the previous generation. We had the Ryzen 5 1600 that was coming in with a 95 watt Spire cooler. So of course, getting that little bit extra out of your CPU was pretty important, right? Especially if you're on a budget. So this time around, you're getting in ways, yeah, I guess I got to say it's a nerf cooler on the 2600, but the 2600X does have that better Spire cooler. So it does sort of a little bit of a thing. I did ask them about that at the event, and they, like, because it's on 12 nanometer as opposed to 14 nanometer, you know it's going to be more efficient. So yeah, it's not going to be a problem at all. It's just, of course, having that extra 30-watt TDP on the headroom of the cooler will help if you want to get those sort of value for money overclocks. So,
Well, it's $30 more. It's $229. The better cooler, in my opinion, is it's the Wraith Spire alone is not worth 30 in my opinion, but it's worth something. And then you've got 300 megahertz faster turbo out of the box. The 1600X, unless you're on a really tight budget, if I were buying the 6-core chip, when in the first gen, my two recommendations were Ryzen 5 1600 and Ryzen 7 1700 with the included stock coolers, because the 1600X and the 1700X didn't have coolers. And of course, at launch, they were a lot more expensive. The 1700X was $399, so it was like $80 or $70 or whatever it was more. But now the price jump from 2700 to 2700X is only $30. It's only 10%, and it's a better cooler. And I mean, seriously, if you're spending 300 on a CPU, is 329 really that bad?
yeah, I mean, it's a great price for a flagship from AMD. So you're exactly right. You've hit the nail on all the heads there. Coming from the 18800X, the previous generation, we got the 2700X. It's going to be better, and it's cheaper. So this time around, very crazy. Like, I'm really surprised that AMD are doing this from the get-go. But what's more,
They're swinging hard.
and of course, I'm pulling up here Blunty's video. He made a video, and there's a frame in there. So the Zen Plus architecture. So this is what AMD's promising: 3% greater IPC, up to 16% better level 3 cache latency, 34% level 2. That's a massive, massive improvement on the level 2 cache latency. 13% better level 1 cache latency, and of course the memory latency as well, 11% better. So not just is the IPC better, this is what AMD's claiming. We can't release figures until the 19th, unfortunately. This is what they're claiming with the slide, and I didn't release this slide, by the way. It's looking pretty solid. I mean, you've got better, like, my biggest issue with the Ryzen 1000 series was latency, and I've said this, and people, actually a lot of the hardcore yes men and women out there, they agree with me. People who had tried both Ryzen and Coffee Lake, who both overclock those systems, they agree with us. They said, yeah, there's something on with the latency with Ryzen. The 8700K feels more snappy. And so these latencies being improved, that's a big thing for me coming in to Ryzen Zen Plus, the second generation. So, yeah.
Well, it's a refined platform after a year. AMD did something incredible last year where they came out with a new chipset, a new CPU, a new production process, 14 nanometer. They did, the FX chips weren't on that. They came out with DDR4 RAM support first time, and they did everything you're not supposed to do, which is they did everything new at once. And it was a remarkably good launch. Yeah, there was some RAM speed teething issues. Yeah, I mean, IPCs and clock speeds weren't as good as people were hoping, but it was remarkably good considering where they were coming from. And so now they've had a year to refine it, to improve the production and to get the clock speeds up, improve the latency, as you say. All I can tell you is that it has been a long time since we've had these conversations. I remember, and many people in the audience will not remember, just due to age or they weren't in the business at the time, but I remember the Athlon XP versus Pentium 4 days, and it feels like that all over again. It's like, well, you got the big blue Intel guy over here, and then AMD came along with the Athlon XP, and yeah, I mean, Intel used their money to kind of try to force Pentium 4 on everybody, and of course Rambus, which is another story altogether. But yeah, would you buy? Well, maybe that question has to wait for the 19th, but a good question for the 19th would be, is there any point to the existing Coffee Lake chips now with these out?
Yeah, well, there's going to be a lot of questions. I'm going to be running a lot of content on, of course, this whole new series, fulfilling broken promises in the backlog as well. So all those broken promises, they're going to be fulfilled in the next month and a half. But another big thing as well, especially back then versus now, marketing was so much more influential back when there was Pentium 4 Athlon XP days. I mean, you saw those big blue TV ads, Intel inside, Intel inside. People automatically thought Intel was better because they had marketing. That was a big thing. Nowadays, you've got so much just communication on forums, YouTube comments, wherever it is, Twitter. Strong word of mouth gets around so much quicker now. People are much more well informed than they've ever been, and so this time around, a good product is going to be.
Think about the fact that the platform we're talking on didn't exist during the Athlon XP and Pentium 4 days. Yeah. All you had were, PC Magazine and Computer World Shopper, PC World. I mean, there were fewer outlets for the information, and it was easier for Intel to buy advertising and spend money to keep the knowledge of AMD out. I'm sure Intel wouldn't want me to say that, but of course, it's history. It's what happened. But now we have social media, which didn't exist back then, so people are aware of this. Competition is awesome. Everybody in the audience, raise your hands. How many people think we'd have 8-core 6-core? Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. 6-core consumer chips from Intel if Ryzen hadn't launched last year.
Yeah, that's.
How many people would think that the 8-core Intel chip would have dropped? Because think about Broadwell E. The 8-core chip was $1,000 and the 10-core chip was $1,700. And look at them now. I believe, what is it on Amazon right now? I think that the 8-core Skylake X chip is like $469 or something.
Yeah, that one's not doing too well.
Well, no, because Ryzen exists. It's.
Yep.
And of course, then they handicap it. At least you could have made an argument for the 8-core Skylake X if they'd given it 40 PCI Express lanes, but they handicapped it with 28.
See, that was, coming into that was my biggest gripe with it, was like the 8-core, in ways they nerfed it, because previously the 8 cores had the 40 PCI Express lanes, and then it's like, okay, suddenly we're taking that away. Keep in mind, like, I thought the 5820K, and I'm actually looking for one at the moment, I think 5820K is still extremely relevant too. That was soldered, it overclocked pretty well. I'm actually in the market to get one of those chips again, because I'd love to do some comparisons with it. So, because I remember back then, 2014, I think 5820K was released, and when it was released, DDR4 memory was so cheap, and it was just like, wow, that CPU back then, even though it was overkill for gaming, now it's like, if you still own the 5820K and X99, it's so relevant, like extremely relevant still. So, and that had quad channel, 28 lanes. It wasn't that, I think it was at Micro Center, for $300 where you're at, back when it was released.
I still have in 2016 I built a 6800K Broadwell E6 core, and I still have that. It's the funny thing is, at the time I did a series of videos back in 2016 when my channel was very, very young, when I talked about the fact, if you were in the market at the time for an i7, I did a 6700K Skylake versus 6800K Broadwell E. It was one of the early videos that kind of caused my channel to make a jump in the early days. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people kept saying to me, oh, that's stupid, 6 cores, not mainstream, nobody's going to need 6 cores in a lifetime. I mean, if you go back and read the comments beneath that video in 2016, it was comment after comment from people going, in the lifetime of this computer, nobody's going to need 6 cores, games don't use it, nobody's going to take advantage of it, this is dumb. And I'm like, I can see the writing on the wall, guys. Oh, well, what do I know? But if you had bought that back in 2016, you still have a great platform. I mean, even Coffee Lake, yes, Coffee Lake is faster clock speeds, but think about it. You basically had a Coffee Lake in 2016 I think it was like $100 to $150 more between motherboard and the CPU cost at the time. And if you're building a $1,500 machine to get 50% more cores for 10% more money, that's me. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So how high I got a question though. How high could you overclock your 6800K? Because
I have a 280 millimeter Corsair H115i on it, and it runs well enough at 4.4, but it is not AIDA64 stable at 4.4.
Okay.
It is AIDA64 stable at 4.2, but ultimately I ended up setting it to 4.0 because temps are lower, the fans turn slower, And the real world performance difference of rendering a video between 4.2 and 4.0 is minor. And I like silent computers, so
Yeah, I mean, I
it did
heard.
not actually. I think you
Yep.
mentioned the 5820.
Yeah,
I think the 5820 actually overclocks better.
it does. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It overclocks to 4.5. I like on average 4.4 to 4.5 stable. And so you got like 4.2 versus 4.5, and that's why the 5820K was such a good buy, because Broadwell E that didn't do too well. And I think Wendell as well had one die on him or something at 4.3 or so. Off the top of my head, I'd have to ask him again. But yeah, I think the
Well, the
Broadwell E's
Broadwell East
were.
aren't soldered.
Oh, really? I thought they were
I don't
soldered.
think they are. I Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they are.
Okay. Oh,
Wasn't the
thanks.
5820K the last soldered chip?
Yeah. We got a donation as well. Jack said, keep up the good work. Thanks, Jack. Thanks for watching, brother. So yeah, so we got, and 5820K, 6800K stuff. Thanks for watching, guys, as well. Love live stream. We're back. I haven't live streamed for a long time as well, so I'm out of it. Textiles, you live stream regularly too, yeah?
I do. I don't live stream on YouTube as much as I probably should. I live stream on Twitch more. And whenever I live stream on YouTube, what ends up happening is either I end up not answering questions in chat or I try to answer everything. I've done a couple of Q&A streams where they end up running 3 hours long and then
Wow.
I've lost my voice.
Okay, well, we'll do a bit of Q&A at the end of this chat, but as terms as Ryzen 2, Ryzen second generation, my bad. Ryzen 2 will be next year, 7 nanometer. We've got the Ryzen second generation coming very soon. I think it's tomorrow night. The NDA lifts at 11 p.m. Australian time. It's 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the US. So 19th of April, that's when the NDA lifts. I think it's common knowledge now. It's posted everywhere. We've got now the next topic as well, the 8-core 16 thread. And I guess this ties in with Ryzen second generation perfectly, right? We've got the next topic we're going to pull up here, which is the Tweaktown. So they've got so many ads plastered on both WCCF Tech and Tweaktown. It's like, this thing almost chokes my computer. It's like, come on, guys, you gotta like maybe make a more efficient way of implementing ads. Like, I love ads. I'm all for ads, but like it's starting to slow down this poor computer here. But we've got Z390 chipsets, and we've got of course, the rumored 9700K. So apparently BioStar confirmed that it's a 95 watt TDP. Yeah. So what do you think of this, with the 9700K being possibly 8 cores, 16 threads, 95 watt TDP? We're rumored to go on to 10 nanometer too, yeah? So 10 nanometer and 95 watt TDP. What's your concerns going into this, or what's your thoughts?
Another chipset, another year. All the people who just bought Z370s, if they're not able to put an 8-core chip on them, or people, I get comments beneath videos where people went out and they bought a Z370 board and they bought, say, an i5 8400, figuring they'd wait for the 8-core chip, thinking they could just buy the 8-core chip because they didn't want to buy the 6-core and be an in between. And so what they did is they bought the budget i5, figuring that in 6 months to a year there must be an upgrade that they can go to, and they are going to be so pissed if they find out that they can't put these new chips on. One of the biggest comments that I see about AMD when people say, yeah, I'm going AMD, is they go, I have 3 to 4 years of motherboard support.
Yeah,
Intel has got to chill with the number of chipsets. That gets old.
they do. So in the historical, Jacob, thanks, man. He said, love your videos, keep up the hustle. Hey, always keeping up that hustle, man. I mean, look at this is all created thanks to you guys. Patreon viewers, everything. Viewers, sponsors, everything's coming on board. Actually, speaking of sponsors, ASRock and Corsair as well. So ASRock, they were really cool with that X370 motherboard review. We'll quickly talk about that. They were really cool with it. They let it slide. Like, they weren't so angry, I guess, because I said, look, at the end of the day, this comes back on your company, right? If you're making good products, you're going to get good word of mouth. It's not just me as a reviewer reviewing these products. You've got to be the best. If you want to be the best in market share, then be the best in terms of making products. And yeah, I guess we've had a few lengthy discussions in the last couple of weeks, and it's been good. They seem to be on the right track, and they're like, look, we'll keep up the sponsorship with the channel, and I respect that. Because I have in the past. I mean, have you ever done a review and it's been negative and then you had the company run away?
I've done positive reviews and had companies run away. What are you talking about?
That is really weird. You have to name the company then. What? So a good product gets a good review and the company runs away. What? You got to tell me which company that is.
Have I said anything negative about AMD in the past year?
Oh, wait, that's where we're going. Okay. You didn't get sent out a reviewer's kit. AMD, please send this man out a reviewer's kit. What? Yeah, I'm really shocked there. I don't know because
they sent me all the Ryzen stuff last year. They sent me 500 RX series. And the thing is, here's the deal. I'm not going to change my reviews. I'm not going to stop. The Ryzen APUs, for example, they didn't send me the 2200G and 2400G. I recommend them. I think they're great. I've done a ton of performance videos on them. So just because they don't send me stuff doesn't mean I'm not going to say, hey, this is a great product.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's about the viewers, not the companies. But
whatever. At the end of the day, though, I'm sure your viewers would love to see day one coverage of Ryzen, the second generation.
I know where I'm going Thursday morning.
Yeah. So still, you're going to have a delay because you're going to have to still thoroughly test it and get out, the results that your audience wants. So yeah, I was actually really confused because I thought when we've sort of talked about things with Ryzen in the past, like I thought the 8400 is a good CPU from Intel, and in gaming I thought it was better than the Ryzen 5 1600, dare I say. And you were sort of more on the fence of the 1600, so you've always been even more pro Ryzen than I don't know.
Well, the 8400 is a better short-term CPU for gaming. It's got better IPC. It's if you only care about a 12-month time frame for gaming, yes, the i5 8400 is a better choice. But if you're buying a CPU for 3 years, because I mean, how many people upgrade? Okay, I understand people do upgrade every year, but I don't think the average person does. If you're looking for a 3-year CPU, I think 2 years from now, the 12 threads of Ryzen, even at a slightly slower per thread per core performance, will be more useful. I mean, I'm already seeing games. I mean, I test Assassin's Creed Origins. It will slam all 6 cores all day long. I mean, there's already games right now that will use 6 cores. And on the i5 8400, I'm already seeing 80 to 90% CPU usage. What future does that give that CPU to grow into 18 months from now?
Yeah, just to say, sorry, we got a donation as well. Thanks. Steven said Noxua still loves us. X58, keep on hustling. Yeah, X58 as well. We've got some great content coming with X58 versus, of course, this new stuff and other new stuff. That's a broken promise I didn't fulfill with the Ryzen 5 1600, but it's coming ASAP, so get your sub boxes ready. That video is
See what I have here?
I can't. Actually, the brightness is so bright I can't see. Just tell me.
This is a X5675.
Oh, you got one. Oh,
6 cores, 12 threads. So I'm just saying, and I have a nice Asus P6T X58 motherboard.
Dude, I love you right now. Look, chat's gonna love you right now as well. Who loves tech deals right now? He's just got an X5675. He's got an X58 motherboard. This guy is. Yeah, can I call you Mr. Serious Biz? Things are gonna get serious. You've got to overclock that platform though. You really have to. It gets massive gains, like 40% out of overclock. It's huge.
And I paid like $45 for that CPU on eBay.
Yeah, incredible. It's a deal. Of course, the motherboard X58's always about the motherboards, and I love it now because people are spreading the word about what the motherboard situation's like. Yes, you can go on eBay, buy a board for $300 and get ripped off, but a lot of the times you can go get that motherboard, pay $100. Like I paid in Japan, I bought like 6 of X58 motherboards, and there are Asus GD65 from MSI. I think it's a GD65. They were just really solid boards. And I got them for like $70 a pop. My friend even jumped on it, he's not even into tech at all, really. All he does is play Nintendo DS, and he's into his console gaming. He was like, because he likes flipping a few things in Japan. whether it be used parts. He's like, dude, get me 3 of those motherboards. He bought them for $70, flipped them for like 170 on eBay US. So yeah, I mean, whenever you can get a cheap deal on an X58 board, don't pass it up. And with that, look at the value that you can extract out of it. That's the biggest thing. So X58 is your savior. And now I've actually lost track of where we were talking about with that donation in X58. We went on a whole new tangent.
All I can say about I am so glad that AMD has sort of kicked the table over and forced Intel to respond, because the fact of the matter is 6-core 12-thread CPUs existed 10 years ago. Now, they charged a fortune and they were expensive and they were not meant for consumers, but they could have been. We went from single core to dual core to quad core in a fairly short period of time in the mid-2000s, and then it just stopped at quad core. And of course, the software got developed for quad core and it was there for a long, long time. But we're finally back on track, because obviously we're not going to 10 gigahertz CPUs anytime soon due to reasons. So all we can do is develop software for multi-core, and it's about bloody time.
Okay, we're going to go down Conspiracy Avenue now, because everyone loves a good... I know, look, everyone loves a good conspiracy theory. I know every time I ask the chat, do they like good conspiracy theory, they say yes. Do you think the real reason we haven't seen gains in cores and threads for mainstream is because of Adobe?
That would not be my first thought. Why do you say that?
Because Premiere Pro only uses 12 threads perfectly utilized. Once you go to 8, 16, it starts to scale off.
Do you not think that they are now addressing that due to Ryzen?
It's a little bit of a joke. Anyway, but...
sorry.
Yeah, just blame Adobe.
Whoosh.
No.
Well, I'll say this. When Ryzen first launched, I know I'm being Mr. Serious. When Ryzen first launched, Ryzen 7 1700 had poor CPU utilization in Adobe.
Yeah.
But it's been getting better over the past year.
Honestly, though, Adobe in Australia, I was paying like $20 a month. They upped it to like $50 a month. And it really, like, man, I'm fuming, because it's like they don't... I feel like nothing's been improved, really. Nothing in Premiere Pro has been improved. Nothing's changed with their software in the last few years, yet I'm paying 250% more money now for my monthly subscription. What's going on with this software? I'd love to see.
Who's their competition?
Yeah, well, DaVinci. I mean, and everyone's telling me to use DaVinci Resolve. Everyone's saying, DaVinci Resolve, it's free. Yeah, and it's like, I tried using Sony Vegas, and I rage quit. Like, I just couldn't get the stuff organized in the amount of time that I wanted to. I was so used to just organizing clips and the workflow in Premiere Pro that when I went to Vegas, I just rage quit. So I'd love to set Vegas up like Premiere Pro and have it so everything works the exact same, but I guess that's not possible. But with that, I don't mind using Premiere Pro, but I'd love to see them upgrade, add in new features, add in new bass transitions, improve everything. But it just seems like it's just this copy-paste formula every year, and then your monthly subscription goes up. So, and then, yeah, I'm going to blame them for the reason why we haven't got more than 4 cores, 8 threads.
Adobe has milked lock-in for a long, long time, because they went to the subscription plan and dropped the selling of the packages. And, of course, if you go look at, comments and forums and everything, people were so livid and pissed about the going to subscription only, but it clearly has worked out for them, because they've got a ton of people subscribing to them. Because if you're a professional content creator, yeah, there's other alternatives. There's DaVinci. Some people use Final Cut on Macs, even though Macs they are what they are. You have Vegas and other things, but it's kind of Premiere Pro, and then it's everything else. And so they sort of have you buy the short and curlies.
Yeah, well, I must admit, I'm a sucker for it. I'm locked in. So I wish I
You're
could get,
used to it, and the time it would take to get as proficient as you are in something else, the $50 a month is not a big enough pain point to get you to relearn new software.
I know, it's harsh at the moment. So it really is, like, because I do want to learn new software just to say, hey, Adobe, I might come back if you innovate. And I think that sort of train of thought is coming back with Ryzen versus Intel, AMD versus Intel. Ryzen and AMD, their big thing is to say, look, we're pushing more cores, more value, we're innovating. It's time for you guys to step up now. And it's a really good thing because Intel is responding, and it's great. I love competition, and everyone in the audience, I'm sure, loves competition. Of course, there will be a few guys out there that are like, I don't love competition. No, Intel for life, and vice versa on the AMD side. I love AMD, AMD for life. But what we're seeing is increased competition, better value, and that's a win-win for everyone. And I'm glad it's hitting the CPU market anyway. GPU market's sort of, man, that's crazy. We're going to transition into that pretty soon with cryptocurrencies. But yeah, what's your thoughts on the competition there?
I think that Intel has been, trying to think of how to phrase this. Intel has a very long history of not wanting to play with others, going all the way back to the 8088. The only reason they gave AMD an x86 license in the first place is that IBM required. In fact, I'll pause for a second so you can say thank you for that one.
Okay, just stop for a sec. We got a donation. Tech Bloodbath says he's looking for opinions. I actually didn't catch the message. I didn't catch the rest of it. Just a second. He's got he has a G4560 Z170 motherboard, and he can get a used i7, but he feels like a new X470 R5 2600 would be a better upgrade. Yeah, if you've already got the DDR4, yeah. What's your thoughts?
Well, it depends upon the price of the used i7, but if you can get a used i7 for under $200, do not discount the headache, hassle, and trouble of changing motherboards, possibly having to reinstall Windows, worrying about your license versus a drop-in CPU change and nothing else. Mm-hmm. I recently upgraded my son's computer. He had an i5 6400 essentially on a B150 motherboard. I had a spare i7 7700K. I flashed his BIOS, dropped it in, it took longer to flash the BIOS and restart the machine than it did to change CPUs. And the 7700K runs at 4.3 turbo on all 4 cores. You know, it turbos to 4.5, but really it's 4.2, 4.3. But the fact is, I put a Hyper 212 Evo on it. I mean, a $20-ish cooler. And it runs cool and quiet at max turbo all day long on a cheap B150 board. And yes, it would be nice to have more cores and more threads, but if you can find that CPU for 200 or less used, how easy is it to drop a CPU in versus changing your whole platform?
I know, that's the thing. Okay, Xeon's baby. Oh yeah, Coalition Game, thanks man. Xeon's for the win. Yeah, maybe he wants to just backdate to an X58 motherboard, DDR3, sell all that new gear. That's an option. But do you think that's going to be a thing, though? He sounds like he said X470, Ryzen 5 2600. He knows what he wants. And building a new computer, for me, is a lot of fun. I would love changing over motherboards, and especially if I wasn't doing YouTube and I had my own little system to tinker with, I would go with X470, Ryzen 5 2600. It's new, it's fresh, it's sort of like, you've got how much of a value are you going to place on the bragging rights here, Mr. Deals? You can now go to school or go to work or go to uni and tell your friends that you have an X470 motherboard and a Ryzen 5 2600. Do you know how much that's worth? Those bragging rights?
I'm old, I don't care.
Well, we've got to take care of the younger generation. That's the thing. So he's going to earn some rep on Reddit as well. So yeah, I'd go with the X470 R5 2600.
I still have an i5 2400 Dell Optiplex in the other room with the GTX 1050. And when I sit down and play games with my kids, I play on it. And I actually kind of like the fact, I have plenty of expensive, fancy, high-end computers, but I kind of get a bit of a kick out of the fact that that's like a $100 computer with like a $100 graphics card in it, and it plays Overwatch at 1080p perfectly. It plays League of Legends, World of Tanks. You need nothing more than that. I love the deal. That's the reason why my channel is called Tech Deals. That I love how much you get for the. You don't have to go out and spend even 500 for a gaming computer. You can spend 200 and get a gaming computer. How cool is that?
It's very cool. That's why I love the use scene. So you're the deals man, I'm the yes man. I just, whatever we do, it's all about getting that value, right? So,
Well, and the funny thing is, you mentioned the Ryzen 5 2600, 2600X. This might be a controversial opinion, but I am kind of the opinion that if you're building a complete new machine, if you're getting now upgrades may be different because if you're just buying motherboard and CPU, I get the distinction. But if you're going to go out and go, okay, I'm buying motherboard, CPU, RAM, case, power supply, graphics card, etc., 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 SSD, hard drive, I'm a little bit of the opinion that I would be tempted to skip the Ryzen 5s completely and buy a Ryzen 7 2700X. And I know a lot of people are going to say, come on, man, you don't need that today. The Ryzen 5 2600, 6 cores, 12 threads, that'll play games for years. It'll do lots of stuff. Yeah, but for $100, you get a better cooler, higher out-of-the-box clock speeds, and a ton of future proofing.
you do.
Could you possibly get a CPU that lasts as long as, say, the X58 platform if you bought an X470 today with the 2700X? Could we be talking in 10 years and you could be sitting here going, you know, my 2700X is still just fine?
Yeah, that's like I completely agree. 2700X is amazing. Sorry to sort of cut you off here. We did get a really good question actually that completely blew over my mind, and I know you've been talking about this a lot. Spectre and Meltdown, and now apparently X58 cannot get those updates and support, even through the Windows update, I believe, because I believe Windows were rolling out sort of like a mid.
Intel pulled it. The i7 920 will not be getting Spectre updates.
Yeah, and so my thoughts on this is just ridiculous. They have to. I mean, the X58 is so relevant. It's so relevant. It's still relevant. A lot of people love that platform. Give it some loving.
I think they should fix the Core 2 quads.
Okay, look, I'm going to make a deal with the viewers, okay? I do have some sponsored content coming up with Intel. How about we all just give Intel a heap of loving, and I'll tell them, look, we'll give you a heap of loving, but you update the X58 platform in return. Let's see if we can make that deal. We can cut a deal. Like, instead of saying, oh, it's a sponsored video, negative comments, we'll just say, yep, love this sponsored content, love this showcase, Brian. Absolutely amazing Intel. And yeah, we give them some loving, and I'll say, look, in return for that loving, you update X58. Because we're all about a deal.
Would you like my honest opinion of that?
Yeah.
I think it's going to take a court of law and a judge ordering Intel to do it before it happens.
I don't know. I think, like, I actually spoke to them on the phone recently, and they know it's a new age. They know it's a new thing. They know YouTube is a massive thing now. It's got a massive communities. They know it's more. I guess that's why a lot of smaller companies are doing really well now. They don't have red tape. There's no red tape. It's really cutting in. It's just hit and miss. Like, a lot of these companies, like small companies, are making things in. Like, I look at Cougar, for example. They're so quick and they're so whatever. We do a video together, be a case review. We organize it a week before. Bang, it's out. Bit Phoenix as well. Before Gamers Nexus put a tombstone on them. There was, okay, sorry, we've got a donation. I'm 16, I just bought a 4770 and 970 for $370. That's pretty good. Okay, we got another £2 donation. I'm not kissing Intel's ass, they can, okay, yeah. Okay, okay. All right. It's just, hey, it was a proposition, guys. It was a proposition. We can do that. And if they guarantee an X58 update.
Oh, you're killing me. I'm sorry. Oh, that's, okay, sorry, that was funny.
So the whole, the whole thing, the whole outlook is now changing. And I got to admit, the one thing I'll say about AMD this time around, this 2700X launch is going to be, I believe, one of the most successful things. I think it will probably be the most successful launch in 2018. They really organized everything well. The events, it was like the funnest event I've been to for a tech event. They really just got down to the details, what everyone wanted to know. Yeah, and so I think AMD's changing in that sense. It'll be interesting to see if Intel's going to change that way as well, where they're becoming more direct with the workers. Because I'm a one-man band at the moment. I just do, like, you know, when people throw me up 20 pages of contract to sign, I'm like, what is this? Like, can you just give me the delo, what you want me to do, and if it's bad, I can renegotiate it, or if it's good, we'll go ahead with it. And a lot of the smaller companies get that right. It's like a one-page contract, bang, yep, you know, you're not going to absolutely bash the company brand if it's a bad product review. So there's protections in there, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's why Gamers Nexus got blacklisted from, like, I don't know. Did he just bashed the products, didn't he? Like, not
Which company are we talking about?
Like Coolermaster, Bitphoenix, and stuff like that, like the case reviews.
Coolermaster didn't mind. I gotta think carefully what I want to say here.
I stopped caring a long time ago. Like, yeah. But you got to be transparent.
Coolermaster does not mind criticism if it's delivered in a balanced way. I had a few criticisms and comments regarding the H500P, and I even opened my H500P review with, all right, let's just get the bad out of the way right away. Let's talk about the front panel. Let's talk about this. But, you know, and when I sent them the link to that video, and they did not get previewed on that video, by the way, I published that without them seeing it. I don't give, when I do reviews for products like that, they don't get to see it first. I sent it to them and I said, I hope you guys aren't too upset by this, but I did actually start with the negatives because I will not be taken seriously as a reviewer if I don't address the elephant in the room. And to paraphrase their response was, we don't mind constructive criticism if it's delivered in a respectful way.
Yeah, I like that. Honestly, I do like that clause. I mean, yeah, like in the past, man, I've been like way back when I first started YouTube, I was brutal. You know, I was ranting almost. And I realized, hey, what if I was a company making a product and, you know, everyone's different in this world. Everyone has different trains of thought. What if you poured your heart and soul into a product? You sent it out to someone and then they just absolutely obliterate it and obliterate your company and whatever, you know? So I sort of changed my thinking. If I've got negative points about a product, I'm just going to say the negative points about the product. I'm not going to bash a company or bash the brand or anything like that. I'm just going to say the negatives of the product. That's it. And so yeah, I'm that respectful way now because I'm starting to put myself in other people's shoes, sort of thing. I just don't like going the extra mile. If something's bad, just say it's bad. Say what's bad and move on, sort of thing. I guess, yeah. I don't know where we're going with this anyway. Maybe we should use...
Well, all I'm saying is that I think the thing that upset Coolermaster with Gamers Nexus is the fact that it was savage, but it was savage. The funny thing is, nothing he said was untrue.
I'm loving his reviews. They're absolutely phenomenal.
I mean, it was just maybe a little over the top. Now, personally, I actually agree with Gamers Nexus in their follow-up because they went out and bought the H500P mesh because obviously they didn't get sent it. And they ended up saying, problem solved. They fixed it. They did this. Great. Why didn't they send this to us? We're happy to give this a good recommendation. Because maybe I'm old school, but I'm of the view that you want to be, if you have a dispute or you're unhappy with somebody, if at all possible, be the bigger man. And Coolermaster sending the H500P mesh first to Gamers Nexus would be them saying
they should have done that.
We have our big boy boots on. We're adults. We can deal with, and of course they came out with the mesh because of the criticism. They recognized that they didn't have a finished product and they fixed it. And they're making the front panel available for existing users who want to change over. And it's only $20, and I think $20 for the whole front panel. I mean, okay, somebody's bound to say they should give it away for free, but I don't know. Is Coolermaster's not that big of a company, are they?
They're a medium-sized company, I'd say, just off the top of my head. they've got distribution chains in a lot of the major countries.
But
Through
they're not the size of Corsair.
No, Corsair is massive. Holy, like I didn't realize how big Corsair are. And actually, I was going to say, I've got the Strafe keyboard here. I absolutely love this keyboard. It's my favorite Corsair keyboard. Yeah, love it. Love it. I don't even know what, yeah, because they're a sponsor. I guess I got to plug them every now and then. But this keyboard is so good. I love this keyboard. And they sent over a few of them for the benchmark setups and stuff. But yeah, they're a dominator, Corsair. Like, wow. And to be honest, they're really, really good to work with. Like, you tell them negatives about the product as well. You say, look, fix this, 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 and this. They go back and fix it. Like, they listen to feedback as well. Even like, the best thing about it is when I went to Computex, you speak to the CEO and second in charge, and it's like they listen to you. They love feedback. They constantly want to make their products the best out there. That to me is a company that's going to win. So anyway, have you got dealings with Corsair?
A little bit. It's hit and miss. They've sent me a few things. In fact, I actually have. I'll hold it up if you want to see it.
Yep.
This is a Corsair K68 RGB keyboard in front of me. They sent me.
Yeah.
They sent me the Spectre 4 case. They sent me a couple power supplies. Although for some reason I can't get them to send me the new RGB coolers they came out with. They're very hit and miss. They send me like half the stuff I asked for, and not the other half. And I have not been able to get them to send me the new Obsidian 500D, which annoys me because my favorite case of all time is the Obsidian 750D. And yeah. I've now built 2 separate systems on my channel in that. And I sent them links to both and said, I am your biggest Obsidian fan. Send me that thing.
Hey, well, I'm going to cut you off. I'm going to say the Air series is the best. Like Air 540, if you're not changing over components that much, best case ever. Air 740, you got the side panel there, which for a guy like me changing over graphics cards and stuff, man, the Air series is just hit the nail on the head. No tempered glass as well. To be honest, after working with tempered glass, I'm not a fan of it. You know how clumsy I am. They're just, yeah, Air series was just like bang. They didn't even have to change anything. I'd love to see them update or add some stuff. So I've got another donation. So Yes Man Tech Deals Together, yeah. He ordered the H500p mesh. Awesome. I've actually got the H500p here too. Sorry, quickly change. I've got to test it still. So I will be doing some testing, relaying my thoughts. I will say one thing. From what I've seen on your channel and other channels, that H500p, it looks really nice, like the looks wise, like aesthetics.
It's beautiful, and from a pure appearance point of view, it is more attractive than the mesh.
Yeah.
But they're not lying. Nobody is lying about how ridiculously easy the front panel comes off and the airflow sucks. Now, I built a Ryzen 7 1700X into that H500p, and I put a Coolermaster, MA610P, the 6-contact RGB cooler onto it.
Yep.
Runs cool and quiet for all the airflow issues. Now, would I put an 8700K for 5 gigahertz in that? No, because it doesn't have enough airflow. But you want a real high airflow case for that. I mean, you don't want to put it in that, but it's pretty.
Yeah,
it's pretty.
Well, that's what I thought with the Bitfenix Enso. Like, I actually kind of came out of that review liking that case. And that's the thing about reviewers. Like, there's been this big thing on reviewers. You know, people call them reviewers shills and whatever. Reviewers are reviewers with their own opinions. At least the ones I know. All the reviewers that I collaborate with, they're all honest people. They're going to give you their opinions. And this is just what's the good thing about this whole community. Everyone's got a different opinion. Now, Gamers Nexus, like for instance, with the with the Enso, he ripped it a new one, and that was justified. He said exactly why he ripped it a new one. Me, on the other hand, I loved it. I love that case. I thought for mid-range gaming PCs, it was phenomenal. Like, I turned around and flipped. I've never flipped a PC faster in my life than that sale with the Enso. Someone saw that case and they just fell in love with it, and they even told me when they picked it up, dude, this thing looks so good. And I put that thing together in like half an hour. I forgot, it was so quick to put that thing together. So they did do a good thing, like in aesthetics. They just missed out on the airflow. But if you're putting mid-range parts in there, GTX 1060 or non-overclockable CPU, none the why, like you're not gonna have any problems with blowing up. I mean, if you put in a 970 motherboard and a, what is it, the 9590, yeah, like you might blow up the VRM 5 seconds sooner than you otherwise would have blown it up if the case, you know, if you had a better case. So there's that. But do you watch Jake Paul? Do you watch Jake Paul?
No. No interest whatsoever. I don't have time for that. If I want drama, I'll go play with my 3 kids and listen to them argue.
Yeah, I'm subscribed, guys. I watch his videos. Email notifications turned on. Links are in bio. I do buy that merch as well. So let's and the other one as well, Logan Paul. I watch them both. Subscribed, and the yeah, just subscribe, guys. So we got here RX 600 series GPU project Zen detailed. So this is a big thing in that you were saying before, this was the first time we've got the new team post Ryzen working on the GPU architecture. Yes.
Yes, this is
Oh, look at that.
all the good stuff about Ryzen that we love, the low temperatures, the better power consumption, the better performance, the better design. Vega, to put a fine point on it, as much as I want to tell AMD I love them, Vega kind of sucks. It's I know that's harsh, but it just does. And I recently did a video. I retested it. I got an aftermarket cooled Vega card, and it just isn't competitive at all. And
it's
this
good
is
if you've got a
supposed to be
FreeSync
everything.
monitor, I guess. That's the one biggest thing I think that a lot of the community said. It's great if you want to go grab a FreeSync monitor and want to enjoy yourself. Sort of
Stock out of the box, half of the Vega cards I've tested have problems with power delivery unless you're really picky about the power cables you use. I've had to undervolt them to get them stable. I've got a Gigabyte Gaming overclocked with the aftermarket cooler on it, and I suffered more hard system locks at completely bone stock settings than I actually could tell you. I had to undervolt it to get it stable out of the box. I've had more than one Vega card from different companies do that. And I've got a good power. I'm testing. I've got a Seasonic Prime titanium power supply on my test bench, so I have no power performance issues whatsoever. Vega is clocked too high, in my opinion. They push the clock speeds and voltages to levels to try to compete with the 1080 and 1080. Well, it doesn't compete with the 1080 Ti. If they had down volted it and down clocked it by like 100 megahertz from the factory, and if they could sell it for $349, it would be the ultimate 1070 killer.
Yeah, I just honestly with Vega though, I've never seen a GPU architecture that's been so heavily dependent on memory speeds to gain performance. It was bizarre testing that thing out. And then when you did up those memory speeds, the power consumption was just through the roof. Yeah, Vega, I only got one card, and I had to borrow a card off a friend when I was doing the 64 because he got a 64 card. So, and then I hocked my 56 to a crypto miner. Bought a camera
for way
with
too
it.
much money.
Yeah, bought a camera with it, so it's great. You know, you're getting a when you think about it, you're getting like a 4K brand new Sony A7S II and stuff for the discount. So yeah, it's like thanks crypto miners, and that's we're going to go on to crypto miners soon. But with the 600 series here, this looks like it's a step in the right direction, right? So we've got 12 nanometer as well. They're going hard on this 12 nanometer. They're using second generation's 12 nanometer too, by the way. So it's Vega. All the cards are looking like they're going to be on the Vega line here. And they're all looking like they're going to be HBM2, yeah?
You're looking at...
WCCF Tech.
Oh, you're looking there. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me scroll down.
Because
I see what you're looking. the 600 series are going to be 12 nanometer, but those are going to be this year. The 700 series, the one that I see everybody excited about is Navi, which is the 7 nanometer next year. Next year's not that far off. If you can buy yourself something to tide you over for a year, um, but of
Like
course, we've
if
heard
you're an
rumors
AMD
before.
fanboy, like if you only want to go with AMD, or because I mean a
Ask that
GTX
question again.
1060, like a GTX 1060 is awesome. It's one of the go-to cards that I recommend. Like the tide you over argument. Like, are you coming from like get a 1050, or like what's your tide over to wait till 2019? I just want to.
Right now, either a 3 or 6 gig 1060. I
Yeah.
really wish the RX 580s were a bit cheaper. When the 580s launched, after the press cards, the first aftermarket card that I bought was a um, Gigabyte Aorus Extreme, one of the highest clocked cards, but it has that ridiculously huge cooler on it, and that was my favorite card. And I only paid like 259 for it, but I don't have it anymore because a cryptocurrency miner offered me nearly 500 bucks
Yeah,
for it
it's
last year. So I'm like,
ridiculous.
okay, fine, you can have it.
Yeah, I mean that's like honestly, like people are probably looking at the channel and they're like, "Oh man, you make more money than you do." It's like, nah, there's a crypto rush. That's like paid for everything in the studio. It's been fantastic. This crypto rush has just created a new studio. Essentially, it's been phenomenal. And when people hate on crypto miners, I'm just sitting back, sort of, yeah, hey guys, I'm just the messenger with a brand new studio. So yeah, like AMD 600 series this year, it's not looking like it's going to be super impressive. Is that so? You're saying wait till Navi 7 nanometer, much more power efficient, new architecture, HBM3, GDR6 memory. This and they're promising. Are they saying like 1080 performance for 200 bucks, 250 bucks?
Yeah, the
That
goal
seems
is to, of
realistic.
course, but of course, Nvidia will have something out new before then as well. But if Navi is designed by the same leadership team under Lisa and the new team that did Zen, if they can bring the discipline that Zen brought forward to Navi. In other words, what I'd like to see AMD do, if I had my wish list, is to do to NVIDIA what they did to Intel. How's that for putting it
So,
simply?
yeah, Steve said how crypto saved AMD GPUs from, yeah, from plummeting. Uh, Crypto did. I mean, I think crypto did help out AMD a lot, and I think they've admitted. They have admitted to it. Nvidia's like loving it. They're just graphics cards sold out for days. Um, but yeah, the Navi series looks really good. I honestly, my favorite card from AMD all this time for the last few years has been the RX470. I like that card was going for like $170 back when you were building G4560 PCs and stuff. You could put together a PC for like $400 with an RX470 and a G4560. It was just phenomenal value back then. And even now, that PC would play games absolutely fine. I want to bring back those days. It seems like PC gaming's just been hit with a massive nerf stick, and you've got games that are getting so popular, but you've got PC people wanting PCs, and that's why this era of used PC parts hustlers is growing more than ever. And I'm going to keep ushering that in. I'm going to keep deal hunting, keep making the used vids. I love that stuff. It's awesome, but I think that is getting a lot of growth in itself. Because of all these DDR4 RAM prices, graphics cards being sold out, the used scene's really gaining some traction. And I got a question for you. Are you going to jump into some... Actually, you are. You got an X58 motherboard, X5675, but are you going to jump into some used graphics card sort of deal hunting performance?
I am not a fan. Well, here's the thing. I do have older graphics cards in a number of systems, but they're cards that I've owned since new. I still have two GTX 970s, and the 970 is still awesome. If you have a 970, wait, you don't need to upgrade. I mean, unless you're like 4K gaming or something. But um, the you can find some deals on 970s, 980s, 980 Ti's on eBay for the price to performance there is better than the new stuff. But if you're buying a card that has been run 24/7, and of course, I never believed an eBay ad that says, "Oh, lightly used for gaming a few hours a week." Anybody who types that, seriously, no, it
Admission of
wasn't.
guilt. Yeah, admission of guilt. You got it. Yeah.
If it's been run 24/7, stacked with six other cards next to each other and shoved on the floor against the wall, and it's been running for 18 months at full speed, yeah, I understand that some miners, Ethereum miners, etc., I understand that they may have undervolted or underclocked for power efficiency or maybe, but not everybody does that. And, it may not have had enough airflow because it's been. Here's the thing. I like hassle-free systems. I am not worried that this chip has been run 24/7 for years upon end. And if it has, I paid $45 for it. So, but if I go out onto eBay and spend $300 on a 980 Ti, and with graphics cards, the problem is it's not that it works or it doesn't, it's that it usually works until like the screen blanks occasionally or you get artifacts.
Have you ever had the whirlpool?
No.
Okay, well, not the whirlpool. It's just like this shrinking square. You'll just see your screen go woo into a black hole. I wonder if anyone else has seen that. I've seen it once, and it was like
That's
bye bye GPU, pew, and it just died. I've had that happen
I,
once. Forgot what card it was.
you,
Ages ago.
you mentioned the RX470. Do you remember? Well, I don't know if you how closely you watch Newegg prices in America, but
Hmm.
just before the 500 series came out, you could get an RX470 on Newegg for $139.
Wow. Now
And
you
I
can.
remember seeing that. And I tweeted about it, and a bunch of people said, "But the 500 series are coming out. Why would I buy this?"
Yeah, I wasn't a
It's
big
not.
fan of the 500 series. They just like literally everyone. I spoke to guys as well at events, and everyone was the same. It was like, yeah, power draw was like up 50, 60%. Performance was up like 5, 10%. It wasn't the best way to do it. So
Well, how different is it than, say, the 7970 to the 280X to the whatever, or the or the 290 to the 390? And I mean, how many times have they relabeled these things?
yeah, no,
Well, you mentioned earlier before we started the 580X they're coming out with in what?
yeah, that's what I was. You pulled me up this link with the 600. I was looking up 580X, and I mean, a lot of this stuff doesn't really interest me a whole lot, like refreshes on GPUs. The Navi thing does interest me. Going into Navi, I think that's awesome, but that's 2019. So, and that's what I was saying with the tied over. Like GTX 1060 isn't really a tied over card, man. Like I've sold PCs where people just love having a 1060 in there. They're like, that's their dream card. Like for me, I could play games day in day out and just have a mad experience on a 1060. It wouldn't be for
Well,
me a
not
tied over.
not to not to plug the video I posted today,
Yeah.
but did you by chance at least see the title of the video I posted today?
Actually, no, actually, I've been busy
It's
testing
okay.
Ryzen 2, Ryzen second gen.
4K gaming on a 1050 Ti. Can you do it in
Oh,
AAA games?
okay, I'll go watch it. All right, after the live stream, and I'll give you my
But
feedback.
basically, the gist of it is the solution to cryptocurrency mining. Can you go out and buy a $200? It shouldn't be 200. It should be cheaper. But currently, they're $200. A 1050 Ti. Can you play current AAA games at 4K at 60 plus frames per second average?
Can you? Don't guys,
Yes.
don't leave the live stream and watch it yet, just yet. Don't leave because we've got rumors now 8086K. So it's coming out anniversary, apparently 5.1 gigahertz boost for the guys who want to get a pre-binned. Essentially, it looks like a pre-binned 8700K. What's your thoughts on this? 95 watt TDP, and it's like a
Hang on, let me pull up the link. Oh, you mean
40,
the
yeah, no,
86, the
80
the eight the
8086K. So the
now I'm looking
86
at it.
being for x86, yeah, celebrating x86. So yeah, that looks pretty cool. I mean, how hard it overclocks? It looks like it's binned, and that'll be pretty
Uh,
cool.
if they don't publish the all core turbo, the 5.1 doesn't mean anything to me.
It does to me a little bit. Like, I think in terms of binning, even getting a single core up to 5.1 would be representative of a solid chip. I mean, it depends. Like, I'd love to see Silicon Lottery get a heap of these, and then you've got suddenly 5.3 gig guaranteed chips. So yeah, this is rumored to come out in June as well. So we're looking at a June release, 8th of June. That's apparently, man, some of these rumors are really strong. Right around Computex, that does make a lot of sense for this rumor. And of course, 8700K is a beast. It's a beast of a CPU. There's no denying that. Results are out. Any other thoughts? Because we're going to move on to cryptocurrency as well. Bit of a topic that's sort of rearing its head up again. ETH prices are back.
Before we jump to that, do you want to address that this is sort of the last hurrah of the 6-core before the rumored... We talked about the Z390, but we never really talked about the 8-core chip.
The 10 nanometer. Yeah, so we didn't really go into depth on the Z. Okay, so the Z390. Intel is preparing... Okay, we'll pull this up now. It's actually a good article. Okay, so Intel's preparing their 10 nanometer is Ice Lake, 8 cores, 16 threads. And it's Z390, and it won't apparently work on a Z370, though I have heard rumors that it may work on a Z370. I'm not entirely sure. But the Z390 rumors are like concrete, I would say, at this stage. And the 10 nanometer is a little bit scary. I mean, what do you think is going to come out of this? Do you think they're going to get lower clock speeds with this 8-core 16 thread and essentially no IPC gains? What's your thoughts on this?
Well, based upon the experience going to 14 nanometer with Broadwell, I don't think the first generation of 10 nanometer is going to be impressive because I've seen rumors both ways. Because I've seen rumors that, I mean, it depends upon what site you go to, because you find counter rumors. The problem is, you remember we never got a K chip in the 5000 series in the 5th gen because that's why we got Devil's Canyon, the refresh, because they couldn't get 14 nanometer good enough at the time.
Yeah.
So I think it is entirely possible that the whole first year to 2 years of 10 nanometer is going to be like a sideways improvement. It's power efficiency and it's them working the issues out. But I think we're going to get an 8-core, 16-thread, 14 nanometer Coffee Lake.
Ooh. I do think we're going to... I'd be surprised if they do it on 14 nanometer. That'd be hard. Like, it's hard. Ring bus is like already on the 8700K. Ring bus has been pushed to its limit. That architecture sort of thing. Like, look at them go up to...
What if they drop
mesh.
the iGPU?
Even then, I dare it wouldn't... Like, the pinpoint
There's enough room. There's enough room on the silicon to... Well, you'll lose clock speed. But
Yeah.
if they knock 300 or 400 megahertz off and they use the die space of the iGPU, there's enough die space to put 8 cores on there.
Oh, definitely possible. I just think if they do lower the clock speeds, the appeal of that chip is going to go down a lot. I think the whole appeal of the 6-core this time around with the 8700K was its 5 gigahertz. That was the big appeal. 6 cores, 12 threads, 50% more relevant than the 7700K. It was a big deal. Though if they're lowering the clock speeds, a lot of those people, the 8700Ks, are a lot of people who want to upgrade and they go the Intel route. They probably won't want to go with the 8-core. They'll probably just say, hey, the 6-core is good enough. It'll last for a few more years. 5 gigahertz, beast IPC. That's just, I mean...
Let me throw out a crazy idea. When is the last time they used the Extreme Edition badge on consumer-level chips, not the high-end desktop?
Whoa. I mean...
What if they came out with an i9 8900X 8-core 16-thread Coffee Lake with no iGPU but works in the consumer platform and soldered it?
That would be a big what if, but if they did, it would definitely make some waves.
If they specifically label it Extreme Edition for enthusiasts, soldered, meant for the people who buy that kind of stuff, sort of as maybe as an acknowledgement that section of the market is not I mean, they use the cheap thermal paste because they longevity and cheap and price. But I mean, if they're going to sell this thing for $399 or I
More.
can't see them making an 8-core chip over 399 at this point. They'd be laughed at compared to Ryzen, wouldn't they?
Depends how many PCIe lanes too. Another argument. People are willing to, like, when you're talking, if you've got the best product, you've got the best product. You make 2 SKUs then. You make one that's the highest clock speeds, that's the X label. You make the K, that's the more 399. So they'd definitely do it in 2 SKUs. Intel on that. So they'd make one for $600, one for $400. That would be my thinking. And so, yeah, I'm worried. I want to see if they are going through with 14 nanometer. I really want to see what they're doing with it. But I believe a 10 nanometer chip would be very interesting. That's looking at this transistor gate thing. I mean, that's crazy how they can even get a shot like that.
Do you notice though that AMD is skipping 10 and going from 12 to 7,
Yeah.
and Intel's stopping at 10? When's the last time they weren't on the same production process together?
You'd have to remind me, man. Those details are, phew. They had 28, 32, 32 and 28. Would it be Glowfo? No, the FX was on 32 as well.
The FX was on 32.
Yeah.
Now they did a couple of odd chips on 28. They never did 22 though, did they? They went straight to 14. They did 28 on their low end APUs.
Yeah, that was right. The Athlons. Yep. Was it? Yeah.
But I mean, if you go back before then, if you go back to Pentium 4, if you go back to Athlon XP, even if you go back to the old K5 and K6 chips, they always basically used the same nodes that Intel used. Maybe one behind, but they were.
Yeah. Interesting that. So they're going different.
All I'm saying is,
ways.
what could Intel do that would give people pause at buying Ryzen? I'm just trying to think creatively here, and I'm thinking, okay, what is people's biggest complaint on Intel the past few years? The lack of soldering chips, right? The heat, the temp.
Yeah, I guess the lack of soldering's been the big thing. Soldering. And what did I just do? I did it. See, viewer pulled me up in one of my reviews. I said aluminum. I should have been saying aluminium. See, what are you doing to me, Tech Deals?
It is aluminum.
Aluminium.
Aluminum.
Let us know in chat, guys. Let us know what you think it is. As well. So yeah, the whole thing is actually, and this is what makes tech so exciting. We're going in different way. We're going in different tangents. We're going in different ways. AMD's back on the CPU lineup. I don't know what this is going to spell, but 7 nanometer is going to be crazy. I really look forward to that. I mean, imagine if AMD could get the jump on Intel again. Wow. That would be
actually have
something.
A faster chip. Well, AMD was the first to a gigahertz after all.
Yeah, well, back in those XP days, they were nailing it. Yeah, so it's just exciting times. Of course, the GPU side of things, I've just got the NUC that just rocked up, the Intel NUC. That is wow. Like, I'm doing a little bit of testing, and in ways it makes me a little bit sad because AMD spent so long putting R&D money into their APUs, and it seems like Intel's just come along now. Yep, cool guys, thanks for the R&D, and we've got now one awesome solution. And like, I don't know, that's just, I was surprised. So
AMD probably could use the money.
Yeah, I know, but they probably back in the day could have made better decisions. So
AMD a few years ago, I actually in 2016 when I did my Skylake overviews, all of my CPU reviews back in 2016 were basically on Intel, and my comments regarding AMD were they really don't have a very compelling product. The FX chips are hot and they're slower, and they never really updated the AM3 platform. It was missing PCI Express 3, it was missing USB, it was missing a few other things, and it's great to have that backward compatibility, but it ages. When we get to 2020, the promised future of the AM4 platform and DDR5 and PCI Express 4.0 and NVMe 2 and a bunch of other stuff comes out, the AM4 platform is going to look really, really old at that point. And if they don't have an AM5 ready, that'll be a mistake. But I AMD, if you look at their, I commented actually back in 2016 that Intel had more short-term cash in the bank than AMD's entire stock market capitalization. I mean,
Yeah,
Intel could have
dude.
bought them with petty cash,
Yep.
but it, yeah, AMD has been struggling just to exist. And so you bring up, I bring this up because you brought up the CPU situation with the NIC and Vega going into Intel.
Yep.
AMD can make the best processors in the world, but if they run out of money or can't afford R&D for the next gen, what difference does it make?
Yeah, it's true. Well, they've definitely got their company up to a bigger, healthy standpoint. And to be honest, their team now is amazing. Their team's phenomenal. I've met like their team in these events, and they're on their game now, especially the CPU division. So what you're going to see in 2018 is the return, like the real return of AMD. That's what I think. Of course, the GPU side, it's weird now because Raja Kaduri going over to Intel with that knowledge, and this is the biggest thing, and this is what I think the real reason for GPP is from NVIDIA. I don't think the real reason's to knock AMD out of the game. I think the real reason's to get a preemptive move on Intel moving into the desktop graphics scene. I don't know why really anyone hasn't talked about that yet, but they're doing, like, Intel has a massive amount of R&D cash. They have a huge budget, and NVIDIA knows that. And so Raja Kaduri going over there with his knowledge and skills, it's like, yeah, Intel desktop dedicated GPUs, you can expect that. That's coming. So the tech scene is going to get exciting in the next couple of years. Make sure you subscribe to Tech Deals and Tech City for the latest, for the real opinions. And yeah, it's crazy. So anyway, we've got some other topics. We better move along, because otherwise we're going to be here for hours and hours. We've got the next article up here. Cryptocurrency, it's back up again. Eth's back up to over $500,000. Zencash is back up. Remember I was watching the Zencash? I didn't think this would happen so soon, but Zencash is back up to $34 USD. So mining in the States is still profitable, at least for now. I mean, well, mind you, Zencash is one of those cryptocurrencies that's sort of becoming like the miners. Apparently all the miners are scared of ASICs going into Ethereum. And so these guys from this currency here are moving on into this currency here. And anyway, back to the nature at hand here. We've got, I think we're going to see new graphics cards coming back in stock anyway, because that crash would have given people a lot of people would have got cold feet in that crash for sure. And so what you're going to see is, I don't think too many people are going to be keen to start mass buying those graphics cards out again, because they may have thousands of them already, or hundreds and thousands of them already. And what if it crashes again and they're stuck with cold feet? They now have double the inventory of graphics cards that they need to dump. So I think graphics cards, new graphics cards especially, I'm not sure about the current used graphics card market in relation to 1060s, 1070s, but what I think you're going to see is new graphics card prices will be fine. They're not going to be as good as they were, because keep in mind, these guys will have their eyes peeled when that price is, as it is, $34, and if they can pick up a 1070 for cheap enough, they'll pull the trigger on it. They'll be like, yep, give me that cheap 1070, let's make some money. But I think they've still got that cold feet option where they will be like, okay, we're not going to buy a lot more stock because of the risk. We've got cold feet before, we're nervous, we're just going to sit out and not buy any more graphics cards. So that's, yeah. Anyway, what you... 10 pull up a 1060. We'll pull up a 10 $280 as well, and $630 for a 1080.
The only cold water I would throw on what you just said is, I don't think now you are more of an expert on cryptocurrency than I am, because I don't actually mine, but I've read the news, and I mean, I follow it from the standpoint of the fact that it's kind of...
I don't mine anymore.
I'm sorry?
I don't mine anymore.
Did you stop that? Because I remember seeing your video on that.
Yeah, it just, like I said, when I made that breaking point video, that was the point where, yeah, it was just worthless to mine. I mean, it's gone back up, but yeah.
Well, did you see the news article about the Russian investor who bought 2 power plants in Russia to run his cryptocurrency mining operation?
You showed me that on Twitter. That was incredible.
It's not the guy buying six graphics cards off of Newegg or Amazon or whatever that is destroying the market. It's the companies. I actually ran across a company with crypto mine in their name. They bought two 1080 Ti's from me about 2 months ago. They're going to the distributors, and they're not buying them from retail. They're going to Ingram Micro, Maricel, the big distributors, and they're buying 5,000 graphics cards at a time.
That's true.
That's what's destroyed the market. It's not the guys buying five off of Amazon. It's quite literally they're buying thousands of them at a time. And that's part of why, when you get to the point to where
Greg from Science Studio would disagree with you.
You mean about
the
whether they're buying that many cards, or
well, no, whether they're destroying the market.
They're destroying the market from a gamer's point of view.
Yep.
I mean, if you want to buy $149 RX 570s, they're ruining that. Let me put it this way. It wasn't that many months ago. It was just in the fourth quarter of last year that I was seeing 6 gig 1060s for $209 on Amazon. Mm-hmm. You could buy 3 gig 1060s for like $159, $169 on Amazon.
Yeah.
That's gone.
Yeah, see, the problem is they did need to put in limits per customer. Limits per customer have existed before this cryptocurrency boom. Whenever a product's been perceived as being hot, they want it to get into as many individuals' hands as possible. So that was my biggest gripe with this whole crypto thing is, yeah, you're allowing corporations to buy, like 10,000 graphics cards at a time. That is killing the market, literally. And they should be limited to buying it. Like, they should have a limit on that, for sure. And that's all. Limits have been placed in different retailers throughout the world, 2 per customer or whatever. So that was my biggest gripe with the whole thing. Little guys aren't destroying the market. Doing little snipes here and there. Making a little pocket. They're not killing the market. A guy who's got one 1070, he's like, okay, I can pick up a 1070 for cheap. I only go buy that 1070, whether it's used or whatever, put it in my rig and have 2 cards mining when I'm sleeping. That guy's not killing the market. Yeah. It's the big corporations buying 5,000-10,000 cards, and to try and I watched Greg's video and he's right. Like, in a perfect world, he's right, but the world ain't perfect, and I think there should have been limits on those companies on how many cards they should have bought. They should have definitely, the companies and the distributors should have been more responsible for getting cards out to individuals. That's my opinion on that.
Here's the thought for you,
because they would have sold to individuals.
Yes, but the companies that are ordering 5,000 cards at a time,
easy business,
are offering more per card. The only way they can buy that many cards is they have to go to the big distributors. Ingram Micro is the largest distributor of this kind of stuff in the United States. And if they go to Ingram Micro and say, we'll offer you $50 more per card than Newegg is paying you if you sell us 5,000 of them, they're not asking for a discount. They're offering a premium.
Yeah.
If you were offered $50 times 5,000 cards and they could be shipped on pallets in one go, you can make all the help the consumer arguments you want, but I think the bean counters in Ingram Micro would go, yeah, sold.
And that's where it comes down to consumer law, because this problem, I don't know what the laws are, but maybe this is a lesson to be learned. Maybe some laws need to be changed, because if you're a policeman, do you get paid enough money to ignore an offense? Where does the buck stop? So
you wouldn't like this, but in the United States, our Supreme Court has ruled the police have no duty to help you.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty bad.
You cannot sue them and you cannot complain. If you call them and they don't show up, or if they stay back and don't come in and help you, they have no liability.
Damn, man.
I'm sorry, that's totally untech related, but I'm mentioning it just because...
That's what TechWorldTV is all about, bro. The world. We've got the world here.
You brought it up, so I thought I'd toss it. You mentioned the laws. I think the laws probably in Europe are better, but, are you kidding? In America, the corporate-friendly haven of the world? Yeah.
Yeah, so that's, if a lesson's to come out of this, is there needs to be some laws that need to be changed. People need to be held accountable for flogging off 10,000 graphics cards to one corporation. Rather than trying to get those cards into individuals' hands, especially when they're advertised as gaming graphics cards for PC gaming.
I'm looking at Newegg right now, and there is a RX 580 8 gig MSI card for $325 after $20 mail-in rebate. That's still over launch retail, but that's not so far over retail. If you've been sitting around going, man, I really wish I could buy one, $325 for an 8 gig 580.
It's not bad, yeah. It's not bad at the moment.
That's not. That's not. Look, 2 months ago that would have been a $500 or $600 card. That's not. I mean, look, if you've been waiting and you want a nice card, go buy one. That's my opinion.
Okay, so, well, I think that wraps up the main topics. We've talked about everything from cryptocurrencies to Ryzen Plus. We even talked about a bit of a Spectre meltdown there with the X58. And, yeah. Actually, we should elaborate a little bit on X50, the Spectre thing. I haven't found any problems with Spectre and Meltdown. I think the browser patching is the most important thing. Patching the browsers so you don't get malicious content via just some random JavaScript or whatever, some random website. I think that's the most important thing. Of course, it remains to be seen the full effect of it. Is it one of those things? What was that old school program where you got your friend to open an exe file and then you started opening up his DVD drive and he got scared and all that? I forgot that. What were those days? There was that program. Like, it was just going to be something like that all over again. It's nothing to worry about, but again, I spoke to so many different people. It seems like some people are like, this is a massive threat. Some people are like, nah. For the individual, it's not going to really matter. It's going to matter more for industries, especially cloud-based storage and servers. So.
I know a couple of people who still are involved with large companies, Fortune 500 level companies, Fortune 1000 level companies, and they are from my former work in IT stuff. The consumer side is actually much newer for me. I mean, I'm much more used to servers and that sort of thing. There are quite a few companies that are wholesale replacing anything more than 3 years old and that have made the internal decision that it's simply not worth the risk or trouble. If it doesn't have a secure update now. The other thing is there's other vulnerabilities besides just Spectre and Meltdown. I mean, Intel's management engine and some other technologies they've had in their CPUs for the past 10 years really shouldn't have been there in the first place, or they should have been disableable at the hardware level and weren't. If you go back 15, 20 years, CPUs were completely secure. I mean, you didn't have... The fact is, a lot of people don't realize this, but as long as there's power applied to your motherboard and CPU, your CPU is never actually off, and you can't turn it off unless you pull the plug out of the wall or turn the power switch, because the management engine... How do people think their computers can wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning when they're off? They're not. They're never off. You have to unplug them. And that, I think, is a bad design. I mean, I get why they did it, but it bothers me. So there are companies that are just replacing them. In regards to consumers, is the risk large to consumers? No. But the day will come when the script kiddie level stuff comes out, browser malware or something comes out. The problem with Spectre, in my opinion, is that it bypasses all the internal encryption in the CPU. If you get infected by it, my understanding, and I'm not a cybersecurity expert, but my understanding is you can have encrypted internet connections, you can be using local encryption, you can be using Drive BitLocker, you can have all of the security turned on that you want, but because it's happening as an internal hardware design flaw of the chip, none of it matters, because Spectre bypasses all of it and allows one program to read the unencrypted part of another program, no matter what. I
did hear, though, ARM CPUs are virtually immune to it. Like, even though they can get the stuff working, like, in theory, it's really extremely difficult for them to get actually something, usable out of an ARM CPU. That's what I heard. So, mobile phones are safe, I guess. And then
keep
AMD
in mind
was
that
a little bit harder than Intel as well.
Both Samsung and Apple both had to come out with firmware patches for Spectre and Meltdown on their phones.
Yeah, well, that's where I think it would affect end users the most, would be on smartphones. I mean, I lock my PC down. I don't do anything dodgy with it, especially my main rig. I've got like this laptop for dodgy stuff. If you want to surf some website you've never seen before, just pull up this old school crappy laptop. Yep, okay, didn't get a virus out of this. I'm all good to go. So we got us in chat as well. We'll start taking a bit of Q&A. I've pulled up live chat on the stream here. See, I'm on my streaming game now. We've even got a light here. It's too bright though. Dims it out. We've got the live chat now up on, so everyone can see the live chat. And we've got input lag. Why is it lower on the X58, X5675? I don't know. I've got to look into all this. I've got to get apples to apples input, like 100%. I've got to rule out any variants, so I will be getting an LED light as well. And I'm going to go on that tangent. That's the stuff I love. I used to be, believe it or not, a Brood War competitive player back when there was no money in esports. So there's that side of me. I'm going to be actually doing a lot more content with that. I absolutely love competitive gaming. I think it's awesome. And so with that, it's a big passion of mine. I'm going to be looking at input lag over the next few months. I absolutely love it. Get to the bottom of it. As if it is why, my guess would be DDR3 and just sort of a more less registers maybe. I don't know. Less paths to go through. It's just it was.
Are we talking about why the older platforms, even though they benchmark well, aren't as snappy?
No, not a snappiness, but actual input lag. Total, like you click the mouse button, for instance, in a game, you pull the trigger. That input, the total input lag time is lower on an older school piece of tech than the 8700K, for example. And I read up a study about the oldest Mac or something. Apparently, like a Mac back in 1980s had the fastest. I've got to look up more studies. It's something I want to go off on because I love going off on these tangents. I think the last time I went on one of these crazy tangents was with audio, and I learned so much about that. That's why when you see my motherboard comparisons now, I cover audio and I'm able to cover it. I feel like I'm able to cover it so well because of that tangent, because I went off and learned everything about that discipline. Input lag's another discipline I want to go down. And I have a feeling if Blurbusters are out there, I'd love to have a chat with them. They do phenomenal work. I'd love to sort of be like the Padawan and get trained up from some of these guys. I noticed Gamers Nexus, he was ready to go down that power supply route. I'm really keen to see what comes out of his channel now. So new disciplines are always good. What's your new discipline? Do you want to pick up something new?
Well, oh boy, there's so many different ways you can go. I can sit here and have a conversation about the value of 5 to 10-year-old technology and how capable it still is. And then I can turn around and talk about why the brand new stuff is such an amazing value for the money. The downside to the older stuff is if everyone did that, we would never have new stuff.
But then
somebody has to buy the new stuff.
Well, the game devs aren't really making a compelling argument. See some of these games that are released, they're so bad. The optimization's terrible. I mean, just have a look at the consoles.
I think the value for the money in PC gaming today is unbelievably. If I had to say I want to do a video right now, I would love to talk about how you can put together a basic computer for very, very little money. And if you don't care about playing Far Cry 5 and Assassin's Creed Origins, if you put those aside and instead you go, well, there's all these free-to-play games, there's the. If you look at all the free entertainment there's available online, you can basically entertain yourself for the rest of your life for basically nothing. I don't know about you, but 10, 20 years ago, I don't remember all this free content. Am I just misremembering, or did it not used to? Take a game like World of Tanks. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people a day play that game, and you can play it totally for free.
Yeah, different times, different age. I don't know. It feels like, I don't know. Maybe we're just in the day and age where...
Did you play the original Counter-Strike mod for the original Half-Life?
Yeah, CSGO 1.6. I mean, it's not CSGO. CS 1.6. Yeah, I love that. That was like...
Free, endless entertainment. I remember playing that for more hours than I should admit. And here's the funny thing. Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Not interested. Go
Really?
figure.
I like Go better. Like, I think it's just optimized. I think it's a great game in terms of
I
optimization and
miss the
everything.
simplicity of the old days, I guess. I don't know.
You're too old school. I mean, I love old school music. You put me some 80s music, I'm like choosing that over anything. But yeah, games, I think games have gone in the right direction. Some, of course, some of them are just terrible. I'm looking forward to seeing. I want a new like Baldur's Gate 2. Like I want a new Baldur's Gate 2. I'm really hanging for that. 'Cause that was like for me, that was just one of the best games of all time, if not my favorite game of all time. Um, yeah, I don't know. I do miss
Why
some of the
would
old days.
companies want to spend? This is one downside. Why would companies want to spend millions and millions and millions of dollars developing this amazing story content, deep level immersive exploration like Baldur's Gate,
Yeah,
where A, people will wait for it to be on a $10 Steam sale, B, a bunch of people will just the people have been trained to wait for those. I've been trained to wait for those. So you wait for a $10 Steam sale, or people will just pirate it and download it, or or they'll sit down and play it, but then it only has sales for a couple of months and then it dies. Whereas you can come out with a Fortnite and just print money for
yeah.
years to come. How much money did it cost to develop Fortnite versus Baldur's Gate 2? If you wanted to make a Baldur's Gate 2 today, would that cost you a penny less than $50 million? dollars?
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, yeah, I guess we can kiss those old school games goodbye, right? It's sad. So
Look, I'm not endorsing what I just said. I'm just saying, like, see, oh,
I'm endorsing what you said. I think, yeah, the new games now, they're more just bang, straight into the action. Uh, and I mean, that's a good thing, right? Especially for time poor people. But, like, I feel like I want to kick back. Like, I'm actually going to go back to, like, Final Fantasy 15 is on the top of my to play list. I just want to go through that. So please don't spoil it for me if it sucks or it's good. I just want to play an RPG again. Um, and so, yeah, I don't know. That's sort of like the one
somebody
game.
in chat just said, bring back Wing Commander.
Well, actually, the good thing is GTA 6 when that comes out, I'll be pre-ordering that. GTA 5 was phenomenal. That was like for me, that was the new age Baldur's Gate. I got so immersed with that game. GTA 5 was just incredible on PC. I
And GTA 5 demonstrates that you can make money, but it's the online component, I think, that has carried it. I actually read the other day GTA 5 has now become the number one income entertainment property in history. It has now
yeah,
passed $6 billion.
and good. I love that because it was a good game.
But here's the challenge with GTA Online. How in the world are they going to come out with a sequel and not destroy? I'm going from memory here, but I want to say the fourth quarter last year they made $263 million from GTA Online.
Yeah,
Somebody can tell me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pulling that from memory. But if you're still making $1 billion a year on a 4-year-old game, 5-year-old, when did it come out? 2013.
yeah. Well, on
That
the
game is 5 years old on
consoles.
the consoles.
Yeah, and then it came out PC like 2015, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's 3 years old on the PC and 5 years old on the consoles,
Yeah.
and they're still making $1 billion a year from it.
That's. I mean, can we get like a Baldur's Gate? I guess if they do redo Baldur's Gate, but add in more pop culture and stuff, like add in a bit more homies and gangsters and stuff, and
It has to be online and it has
yeah,
to have microtransactions.
spell casting gangsters. That's what we need. Bring it on. I don't care as long as the story's good. So,
Digital Valor in chat just said Pokemon Go still makes $1 million a day.
ooh, wow, okay. Okay, so yeah, we got the questions as well. Sorry, completely ignored chat for like the last 5. Sorry, guys. Any thoughts on upgrading to the 2600X? Yeah, I mean it's wait till the review, but I'm gonna give my whole opinion and thoughts on it. My review is gonna be my review. I'm gonna say though, with what I've got so far, I'm very impressed, and it's in. I guess it's gonna be a lot. It's my review is gonna be a lot different to other people's reviews. I think that already. Because it's going to go in relation to what I've already covered in the past and what I think they've improved on. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say. I can't say about performance figures. We can't drop any actual performance figures at all. It's a strict NDA. And,
I definitely can't. I don't have one yet.
I will ask a favor because I think people would love to see your Ryzen 2 cards, Ryzen 2nd Gen. Sorry, I keep saying Ryzen 2. Ryzen 2, 3, it's all successes.
They've confused it with that.
Yeah, well, like it's said on the thing, Ryzen 2nd generation. So I just cut off the second, put a 2 there. But yeah, Ryzen 2 will be next year, I think. And then this is Ryzen Plus, Zen Plus anyway. So, did you testing first? Yeah, I'm testing. Yeah, of course, I did test the first gen on the X470 as well. That'll be in the review. I've almost wrapped up all my review results, so I've got to start recording that. Probably spend all tomorrow recording the video and cutting it and getting it ready for the lift and stuff. But yeah, it's cool, guys. So it's awesome. Yeah. Anyway, this was the first pilot for TechWorldTV. Hope you guys. We're gonna wrap down the chat as well. If there's some dying questions as well, we'll, of course, we do give priority to donations because it is our job this is our jobs. So if you guys want your question desperately answered, even $1. And TechWorldTV, this is the new show. We're all good to go. Hope you guys enjoyed the first pilot. I'm a little bit sorry if I've been a little bit complacent today. First live stream in a long time. I had to dust off my microphone. I've forgotten how to live stream. And I hope we did a good job. I hope the audio was pretty balanced. One thing, it's always hard getting the audio balanced. I think me and Tech Deals, we had to run through a few different times to get the audio balanced. Hope it's balanced. Had to get the chat ready. And just so, yeah, had to do that. So, yeah, so we just had to do all that. So anyway, hopefully it all works out. Ta-da! And we got the Jar Jar mug. So,
cheers.
Yep. All right, guys. So that just about wraps it up, and we look forward to. So if you guys have topics as well, topics for next week, desperate topics you want us to talk about, then drop a comment in the comment section below as well. Top upvoted topics will be talked about next week's stream as well, and of course, thank you guys as well. This is just lately I've been reflecting back on the channel. It's starting to do really well in 2018, and I'm giving it my all. Starting to collaborate with awesome people like Mr. Deals here, and it's just everything's coming along, guys. Thank you so much for the support. Everything in between. Also got this as well. Oh, there goes your camera. Tech Deals has a little backdoor camera there, so you can see what I'm doing live. Got this as well. 3600 megahertz memory as well. Looking forward to testing that on Ryzen, even though it's not going to be part of the official review. That'll be like the king ding-a-ling stuff, but Ryzen and memory speeds are important. And that's one thing we can sort of reference off previous data. So anyway, closing statements, Mr. Deals.
Watch the reviews on Thursday, and
do you want me to give you some numbers? And you can run a launch day video?
Here's the funny thing. Based upon the leaks that I've seen from other sources, based upon the clock speeds, if you don't already own a Ryzen, if you've got a 3-plus-year-old machine, I almost would be willing to recommend it without even seeing the numbers, because if it's better than Ryzen, see, I already recommend Ryzen. I already recommend the first-gen Ryzen.
Thanks,
if
Daniel.
this didn't exist and you came to me right now and said, well, I've got a 3 or 5-year-old PC, what should I buy? Ryzen 5 1600 or Ryzen 7 1700? That would be my recommendation today. These new chips are faster and better and price competitive with improved motherboards and at least as good RAM support, if not better. I know that a lot of people say, well, what do the reviews say? Well, it just seems to me like I know, a recommendation without testing sounds bad, but I could almost recommend it blind, which sounds really bad. Because I'm not an AMD fanboy, because I love Coffee Lake and I love my Skylake X render box, but $329 for a 4.3 gigahertz 8-core chip with a Wraith Prism cooler?
$329.
Yeah, I'll take one.
$329?
What'd I say?
You said $339, I thought. $329.
$329, sorry.
Yeah.
It's just...
See, that's the thing. Anyway, before we go, guys, I don't know. first live stream. We're getting comfortable here. Before we move out, I think AMD have a better product on their hands than even they think they do this time around. But anyway, stay tuned for my review. Can't wait to release it for you guys. And we are, as well, I might even, me and Mr. Deals, if we've got a bit of time as well, we might even do the Patreon live stream as well. That's just where we shoot back, talk anything completely untech related too, so it doesn't even matter. And yeah, we'll catch you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. First Tech World TV. Hope it went well. Hope it was smooth. And tell us if you like the new format as well. And yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Peace out. Bye.